All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the weekly analysis for the week coming up starting today, November 16, going all the way to the 21st. It's going to be the final week before the Thanksgiving week in the US. So I have a lot to talk about this week. I'm going to try and make it as short as possible. All right, before we begin, let's just pray. God, we just give you thanks again for your goodness and for your blessing and for another opportunity to trade. Pray that you will be to anyone watching this video. May we all succeed together. May we all improve on our process. May we continue to be successful. We pray. Amen. All right, guys. Again, for those of you who are watching this video for the first time, I am 100% bullish on all, excuse me, all US indices. I particularly trade the US 30. Um, and this analysis is going to be based on that. So if you have not watched the review video from last week to see how the analysis played out as it related to the weekly analysis video, please pause, go ahead and watch it so you can have an understanding of what I'm about to talk about. All right. As you know, my lines have already been drawn. This is actually the range from Friday's trade. This is where the market closed. Now, you would have seen that since Wednesday of last week, the market actually is in a retracement. It ended with a higher low on Friday's trade on the 23-hour time frame. Okay, this is where the market ended on Friday. Okay, this higher low that was right here. It finished with this doji looking candle on the 23-hour, which is the 4 to 5 hour candle on the 23-hour. That's where it ended on Friday. Okay, the daily did not put on a signal. Also, the 21-hour did not put on a signal, which is weird. The 20-hour, the 19-hour, and I believe the 18-hour. Yes. Everything else below the 17-hour actually completed their um their signals. They started the signal on Friday, completed it on Friday. Okay. Now, here's what you're looking at for the upcoming week. Do I think this is where the market is going to buy from? Do I think that this is the largest higher low? Well, it certainly was the largest higher low on Friday when the market closed. Now, remember, on Friday, the market actually closed with the weekly time frame expiring, weekly candle expiring. All right. And here's what the week looked like on Friday. You had this buy up to create the all-time high, and then you had this retracement to create this doji, right? The wick at the top is longer than the wick at the bottom, okay? That kind of tells you something. Read and understand your candlesticks, and then you'll have an idea as to what might be happening, okay? So that's where the weekly ended. The daily finished right here at a um, expiration. And of course, you have your 23-hour at a um, exhaustion point. Now, why this is important for me this week is that, remember, before the time frame start to buy, you want to see confluence. You want to see the time frames corresponding. You want to see the time frames align. Okay. Now, forget about the day for a minute, because this could just be a clear idea or a clear example of just an exhaustion that happened, and we could see this market shooting right up. Remember, we're in a bullish market. However, before this happens, okay, what I'm expecting to see, and remember, I'm still waiting on my buys. I still have plenty of time before I actually take my next buy. There's no need to rush it. Okay. Remember, retracements are usually hard and fast. Trend moves take forever. Notice Retracements, hard and fast. Trend moves take forever. But remember, it's always higher lows to higher highs. So you can always hold these forever. Okay. So with that being said, before I see a buy going on the daily, since the daily did not put on anything, okay, the largest higher low that finished that session would be the 23-hour time frame. Okay. Now, if the 23-hour finished with this exhaustion point, I'm expecting to see some amount of retest before it actually continues to the next higher high. Because remember, it's my largest higher low all the way up to the next higher high. Okay, so beginning of the week, all right, this is where this finished on Friday. Okay, so I'm expecting to see some amount of retracement to at least cover this wick before going up. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two is, okay, you could actually see the market open with a huge drop towards the downside. And what that would mean is that you are now going to complete this low. It's going to make a new low if it breaks this level right here. Let me put on back my line so you can see them. This here is a previous 1 hour support line. This blue line, remember blue is for the 1 hour. So this would be a previous 1 hour support line. All right. So if the market does in fact want to create a higher low on the daily, okay, and also a higher low on the weekly, then this line would need to be broken. Now, if we see the market open and you get a gap below this line, then you know the move is going to continue until the daily makes either a new low, which is in effect a higher low on the weekly, or it could just break this level that was created on Friday. Okay, still validate the higher low that was made on 23-hour before shooting back again to challenge for another all-time high. So it's very, very important that you understand and exercise patience as you look towards the beginning of the trades starting at 6 p.m. today. All right. Number of things can happen. If you were in a buy, if you're in a buy already from here, you would have been in profit. You would have ended the day in profit. Okay. However, if you did not go into a buy as yet, there's still time. There's a lot of time for you to wait. There's no need for you to actually rush the buy move. Just wait patiently for it. Because two things can happen. If you have a break here, okay, and it stays above this previous 1 hour support line, okay, then the higher low on the H23 is validated. And then you'll have a buy from the H23. However, if you do not have that respect of the support, the previous support from the 1 hour, which was last week, Friday, okay, and you have a break in this line, then you know that the price now is going to continue to create a higher low on your larger time frame. Because what that would mean is you break this low, you're still higher low. Because remember, now you break this level, now is your next, here is your next support. Okay, so remember, even a break at this level doesn't mean that you're in a bear market, because a break at this level is still a higher low on your daily time frame, which of course would break here with a new low, but it's still higher than this previous higher low. So it's still a higher low on your daily, or if you go to your weekly time frame, if it breaks this level and puts on a higher low, then you know you're still looking at a higher low on even your weekly time frame. And we haven't even touched the month, because the month is out of the question right now. Okay, so currently a break here confirms the higher low on the H23. A break here confirms that you now have a new low on your H23, and you have a new low on your daily time frame. However, it's still a higher low in relation to the previous support that was made on a 4-hour time frame back in Friday, October 10th. Okay, so a number of things that needs to happen. There's no need for you to go rush into the buys right now. Okay, you will have plenty of time. Even if the market goes up and gaps up, there will be time for you to actually get in on the retracement, the next higher low, and continue to ride the trend. So there's no need for that. No need for panic, no need for rush. You're out of the markets and everything. Continue to wait until you see those confirmations. All right. Now, let's look at the 23 hour. Now, of course, I'm on the 23 hour, but of course, if you have the basic plan, you'd be on the 4 hour. So this is where the 4 hour is. All right. Now, here is a key thing for you to understand. Okay. There's a key thing for you to understand. Anytime you see the market at a higher low or a lower high, that's consolidation. Okay. Consolidation. Now, clearly, we see what happens. Last week, Friday's low, all the way to the new all-time high. Price came back here. This is consolidation right here. Consolidation between the last high and the last low. So remember, I mentioned to you, any sell is just a temporary retracement to create another higher low in order for you to go back and make another all-time high. All right. Now, so here's where we're at. So this is the last high, last low, last high on the 4-hour. Market consolidating. Well, let's back your fibs out. So you're looking at probably about a 61 to a 78% retracement. And here we go. We're actually at 78% retracement right there on Friday. Okay, so that's actually a valid retracement point. However, you still need to wait for your confirmations before deciding to actually go again. So if you actually took this buy on Friday from here, you'd have ended the week in profit, still holding the trades. However, be mindful that in order for this to be validated to go back up again, okay, some amount of retracement is actually in the cards. Now, if you jump down to some of your smaller time frames, remember, you already have your higher low here. So you're not looking for signals to decide whether or not to actually buy the trend or whether the trend is bullish or bearish. Because when you look at your smaller time frames, I can guarantee you that you're going to see that the trend is actually bearish. So let's look at, for example, the half-hour time frame. Half-hour time frame finished. Okay, you have a new low, which was lower than this previous low. You have a lower high, and then you have a higher low right there. Okay. All right. So there's some amount of consolidation happening right here between the last high, all-time high, and the new low. This is the consolidation point right here. We'll jump down a little bit more. 15 minutes. Similar scenario. Okay. And just adjust this here. Similar scenario on your 15 minutes. Okay. Let's look at your 5 minutes. You go down to your 5 minutes. Here we go. You have lower highs, lower lows being made on your smaller time frames. The smaller you go, the more intense the move is going to be. And it's going to show you that the market is actually bearish. When it's not, you got to zoom out and look at your largest time frame. So here we go. We have all of this consolidation happening right here on Friday. All of this consolidation happening. If you go down to your 3 minutes, it becomes even more clear. Okay, you have lower highs, lower lows being made on your smaller time frames. When you go down to your 1 minute, same thing, lower highs, lower lows. So this tells you right now that the market still is in fact in consolidation mode. The higher lows haven't quite yet been confirmed. Although you had this buy from here Friday at about 9:30, right? Although you had this buy from here, look at the level of consolidation that happened on Friday. This is just a 1 minute time frame. The level of consolidation is just absolutely surreal. It's crazy. So when you look at the 30-minute time frame, here we go. This is the consolidation. This is everything that you saw on your 1 minute time frame since 9:30 on 9:30, 10 o'clock on Friday. Here we go. This is where we are. Level of consolidation. So 1 minute, all of this right here. So this is 10 o'clock. Everything that you see on the half hour from here, let me just put a vertical line here so you'll see it clearly. So let's go to 10:05. All right, there's that vertical line. Let's go to the half hour. See, there you go. This is everything that was happening on the 1 minute. So you notice on the half hour, you have a lower high and you have a higher low. Clear consolidation between your last high and your last low. Clear consolidation. There's no break. There's no confirmation of a lower high, lower low. And there's no confirmation of a higher low. Sorry, higher low to higher high. It's just lower high, higher low. That's clear consolidation. Go to your 1 minute. That's the consolidation that we saw. So if you notice, market continues to break structure, up and down, up and down, up and down, no clear direction. So lower low to high, okay, breaking structure. Higher low to higher high, confirm that the market is going up in structure. All right, then you have higher low to higher high, higher low to higher high. It's still in structure, but if you notice, not by much. Then you have a break towards the downside. So you have a new low, then you have lower high to lower low, downtrend, lower high, lower low. Then you have a break towards the upside. And then you have a higher low, a higher high. So it broke back to being bullish. Okay. Bullish. Then all of a sudden it broke back to being bearish. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then it broke back to being bullish. And then you have higher low and you have a lower high. So you have consolidation. So you have consolidation within the consolidation. That's crazy. So the important thing is that you are waiting on your largest time frames to confirm to you what it is that it's going to be doing. So this move right here, okay, and this is what I was talking about on the larger time frames. Now, if you notice, this low came down and it broke below this low that was made for the week already. This is on a 1 hour time frame. Now, this tells you because it breached here, okay, it's fair game to expect that the market is going to come back down and break this low that it made, okay? And then with this exhaustion that you received on Friday, okay, there's no reason not to expect that the market will actually shoot down at open to at least come back to this support before buying up. Okay, or if it doesn't come back to this support, just comes right here, right underneath this line right here, confirms before shooting back up and going to your all-time highs again. So it's very interesting times that we're looking at on the markets. The market is in fact still making higher lows to higher highs. However, you have to understand, in order for your higher low to be created again, there needs to be retracements. Now, instead of trading the retracements, you wait for the retracement to be over on your largest time frame, and then you buy from your largest higher low towards the trend. That's the safest and the only guaranteed trade on any of the US indices. All right. So this is where we are on the 1 hour. So let's look at the 2 hour, for example. Same scenario. You now have a new low, still higher than the previous lower low. Okay. All right. But guess what? It's a higher low. Trend is higher lows to higher highs. Okay. Well, let's look at the structure. So you look at your 3 hour. On your 3 hour, you have a higher low. Okay. But remember, the market moves high to low and low to high. Each time the market makes a high, it wants to come back and make a low. Every time it makes a low, it wants to go back to make a high. Okay. The only difference is the lows are always falling higher. The highs are always forming higher. That is why you are in a bullish market. The mistake a lot of people make is that they try to sell a bullish market, not realizing that the highs are always going to fall higher on the larger time frames, and that's how they get trapped. Okay. Now, so this is where we are on the 3 hour. Now, if you have been tracking the markets, you would have noticed that at some point in time between Wednesday and Thursday, the H2 was also at a higher low that was oversold. Now let's do some back testing. I'm not sure if the back test will actually show the oversold point, but let's see. Let's give it a shot. Here we go. See that right here? That is a higher low on the H2. This was actually on Thursday. Okay. So at some point in time, this was at a higher low, oversold. So a lot of people would have taken this buy and says, yes, it's ready to buy, but not realizing that your larger time frame still did not make or complete the higher lows that were required in order to move the market to the next all-time high. So this was Thursday, okay? If you even go back, I think, to the previous day on the 1 hour, here you go. 1 hour is also at a oversold higher low. Okay, but look at what happened. Market kept pushing until that became a low. Market kept pushing, okay, until this became a low. Now we're on the 23 hour. It's at a higher low. What can we expect? Well, the market may continue pushing to complete this low, which if it breaks this level, which is the 1 hour support line, if it breaks this level, it's going to be a new low on everything from the 3 hour all the way up until the daily time frame. Let's check it out. This is the line right here. Let's go to the 4 hour. See, that would be a new low by breaking this previous low. Let's go to the 11 hour. That would be a new low by breaking this previous low. Let's go to the 23 hour. Well, let's do the 21 hour. Let's shake things up a bit. 21 hour, notice, still hasn't put on anything as yet. So there is some amount of sell to be had on this. And that's why I'm expecting that it's a possibility that the market will open with a gap all the way down to complete this low, or it may come right here just to complete a higher low on like the 21 hour, the 22 hour, the 23 hour. Okay, it could just come right there just to complete this before going up again to form Monday's consolidation point. Very important to know that. All right, so there are a number of scenarios that can happen. But like I said, if the market opens, shoots down, breaks this level right here, then you now have a situation where you now have a new low on your daily time frame, and that new low on your daily time frame should and will give you a higher low on your weekly time frame. Now, let's talk about that for a little bit. If you get this break, on if you get this break from this previous 1 hour support line, okay, that means this support has been breached. Okay, now what is the next support level after this breach? Well, to see that, let's look at the 4 hour time frame. All right, this is the 4 hour that is going to need this this break right here in order to create that new low. Okay, I'm gonna leave the fibs on for a little bit because I want to show you something. So if it breaks here, the next level of support is going to be right down here at this 161%, which is at the previous 4 hour support, which is at 45,191.5. So if you break here, your next level of support is going to be down here. right in this region right here. So a break here at the start could signal that the price would go all the way down here. Now, with the price going all the way down to this 4-hour support line, it does not mean that we're in a bear market. That is just the new low all the way up until the day, which is now going to be a higher low on your weekly time frame by either breaking this level or pushing to this level down here. Okay, so that is definitely what we're looking for. Now, couple of things, and I mean, this is where analysis comes in, and this is where analysis actually plays a very, very, very important role. Now, if you notice, last time you had, and let me mark this here, and you always, I'm sorry, wrong thing. You always want to look left. Always want to look left and mark something. So you have a similar situation here. Market coming from a higher high. Okay. Look at what happens right here. Market came here. All right. And it found a support. Okay. Now if we move this and where is my, okay, let's move this here, put it right here to see if there was a higher low created. Notice before you had any kind of buys, you had a higher low that was created right here. Okay. Then you notice that it went up, you got the rejection, and then it continued down. But this was one whole week of buying all the way up, fulfilling whatever highs it needs to be created before actually working itself all the way down. So you see, support levels are really, really, really important. Now, on the daily, that was on the weekly, on the daily, that translated to a higher low. But look at what happened. That week, it came up and it did only a lower high right here on your daily time frame. Okay, before actually continuing down to create a higher low on your monthly time frame. So where did I mark? Yeah, that previous mark right here. All right, and this was actually earlier in the year. So this is when the market actually came down, created this higher low for the year, its lowest point for the year, which was a higher low on the monthly time frame, pushed all the way and create that monthly higher low, okay, before going up to create that higher high. Now, I know all of this might seem a little bit overwhelming for you, but the important thing is that you remember the trend is bullish. You're not trading for your sells. You are waiting on your sells to be over in order for you to get the perfect buy opportunity. So going back and you look at your 2-hour time frame, okay? As I'm saying, what I'm expecting for this week. Do I think this move is over? Probably not. So I'm still waiting. I'm still cautious. I'm still not going in. And the reason why I'm not going in, and let me summarize this in a nutshell for you. The reason why I'm not going in, I don't feel that all the time frames have fulfilled the required higher lows. Why do I say this? Well, the daily, let me take this off. The daily has not created a higher low. You have exhaustion right here. Okay? So I leave that alone. But your 23-hour is at a higher low. Well, you might say, well, why wouldn't you take this higher low towards a higher high? That's a valid point. That's a valid point. However, the 23-hour, this still looks like there's some amount of retest that needs to happen on this week right here. Now, if you look left, look at what happens right here. So we had a similar scenario right here where we had this candle right here. And let me just back test to see if that was a similar scenario where we had a higher low. Oh, come on, keep pressing the wrong thing. Here we go. So on the 23-hour, look at this candle right here. See, notice you had a higher low right here. Okay. After you had that higher low right here, look at what happened. You had this candle right here, finished. Okay. On Thursday. So it was a higher low. Let's look at the 23-hour. 23-hour was at a higher low point. Same thing like what it's at this Friday. But look at what happens now. Next session opens, next candle opens. Okay. Look at what happened. You had that drop, it went down, cleared out all of this right here, took out liquidity, did the retest before starting to buy again to the next all-time high. Okay. Now let's look at what happened on Friday. Same scenario. Same scenario. Okay. From over here. Same scenario. Candle finished right there. Market open, drop down here before going up to an all-time high. But let's look at the 22-hour, which is where we actually saw that. This was the two candles that we looked at. This was at a higher low. You had this candle. Market opened. You had this drop, found support, bought up to a all-time high. Same scenario on Friday. Okay. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. So here we go. Higher low point. Finished with this candle. Okay. Market opens. I'm expecting to see either a retracement of this level, a confirmation of this level right here before buying up to another all-time high, or if the market opens with a significant drop and it takes out this level, then we know that we'll be looking at a new low on your daily time frame, and you'll be looking at higher lows on your weekly time frame to go up to your next higher high. All right. So I really hope that that makes sense. Now, I say all of this to say, guys, there's no reason for you to be rushing your buys. Okay. Whenever the market sells, you just wait. Let me put it in perspective for you. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of buying. 4 days of buying. This retracement, 2 days of hard sells. Okay. Here's why it makes sense to wait. You had 4 days of profitability. 2 days of sales. You're only waiting for 2 days. You had 4 days when you had good momentum, positive results, positive profits. Take your profit at the top and then just wait. The problem is we don't like to wait. We always feel like we have to trade constantly. So just wait. Wait for the market to give you what it is that it needs to give you in terms of confirmation so you can decide to take your next buy. Now, the last thing that I wanted to say in this instance, so remember I told you the 23-hour was at a higher low, okay? But I'm still thinking that this higher low needs to be retested, needs to be completed before we start buying again. I don't trust the fact that the daily is not at a higher low, but let's say the daily is at a true exhaustion point and it's going to go up again. Before the exhaustion point, before the all-time high is confirmed, before the buy starts again, this area right here needs to be retested. And here's why I believe that. We looked at the 22-hour and I showed you the analysis of these candles right here from a previous move. Okay. However, when you go to 21-hour, notice what happens. The 21-hour did not put on a signal. So remember, if you're going to be buying, you cannot buy when the time frame is at a high. It needs to be at some type of low. It either needs to be at your low, your lower low, or your higher low. None of these conditions exist right here. So based on the fact that I'm looking at this time frame right here, okay, there is actually no confirmation for me to buy. So I should not be buying this market because this time frame is out of place. There's no low, there's no signal for me to actually be taking a buy right here. It's still sitting at a high. So I'm expecting some amount of push before I see a low for me to actually take my next buy. That's why I mentioned to you guys that you must always watch all your time frames. You have to look at your time frames. You have to look at your time frames. They all tell a story. Okay, so let's look at the same analysis that we did on the 22 hours. So if I take my lines and I go back to this section over here. So here we are. See, we have a lower, higher low right here. Okay. So you had it on the big time frame. Here we go. Similar situation if you're looking at Friday's H23 close. Okay. Similar situation. Market opens. See that? It pushes down. All right. This was on Thursday. Next session. Now we start to see. This was the wick that was created on the 22 hour. See that? See that? Came, wicked out, came, completed this. This was the candle right here. It completed this retracement, created the higher lows that you needed on your 23 hour. Okay. In this case, you got a higher low on your daily, and then it continued up. All right. So that is exactly what I'm expecting for this week. Guys, you have to learn to be patient. You have to learn to be patient and to wait for your higher lows. You have to wait for them to be completed. There is no need for you to be rushing the trades. They will come. The buys will always be there. No need to be chasing the sells. There's more than enough money to be made from just buying the trend. It's the easiest and only guaranteed move on the NASDAQ 100, on the US 30, and all the US indices. All right. So one last thing, like I mentioned to you, I drew my fibs. Here we are on the fibs. We're at 78%. This is the 2-hour time frame. Okay. This is also the 3-hour time frame. Okay. Let's look at the 23 hour. So the 23 hour, this actually came from a higher low to a higher high. Okay. So this is in line. The higher low is actually in line with the 78%. However, what's out of the picture, looking at your largest time frame, your daily, still nothing to write home about. However, even if the daily is just going to bounce from the 78% and go all the way back up, which is not impossible, in order for it to do that, these time frames right here need to complete what it is that they started. And they need to complete with a higher low right here. When the market opens, that drop, taking out this wick, okay? And then shooting up. So one thing I will tell you, if you're looking for an entry, here's a good entry for you to start the week. Okay? The market opens, comes back and just retests this 78% and puts on a higher low on your 21-hour time frame. Okay? Also, if it puts on a higher low on your daily time frame, trust me, there is no use in you trying to sell this market further, because that would be the confirmation that you're looking for in order for you to continue buying. However, If the market opens and you break this line right here, no use in you trying to rush the buys, because now you have a new low on your daily time frame, and that means that it's still trying to fulfill the higher lows on your larger time frames. Now you have the weekly time frame in play. It's no longer a rejection. It is more of a continuation to complete the higher lows that has been started from last week, Wednesday. All right. So that is it. For this week, guys. Again, what am I expecting for this week? Nothing new. Market continues to make higher lows to higher highs. However, the market has been in retracement since last week, Wednesday. It is currently sitting at an H23 higher low, which is not yet completed, evidenced by the fact that the 18-hour all the way up until the 21-hour time frame has not signaled their higher lows. The 23-hour has signaled a higher low, but it needs those time frames to complete their higher lows before any buying can resume. Last thing, if the market opens and decides to break the previous 1-hour support line, then you're looking at higher lows on your larger time frame. So you start looking now for higher lows on your weekly time frame before actually starting to buy. All right. So I know this video is a little bit long, but sorry for that, guys. Just wanted to get that content in. So I hope that this week is going to be very successful for you guys. Just continue to be patient, continue to practice, journaling, reviewing, taking notes, practice all of those things because they become perfect. Okay. So with that being said, God, we just thank you again for another opportunity to trade. We ask that you'll be with us as we trade this final week before Thanksgiving. Lord, continue to give us something to always be thankful for and continue to help us to be successful. We love you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, take care and happy trading this week, and see you next time. Bye-bye.